Thank you for attending the Cannabis Investor Webcast. I would like to thank our platinum sponsors, Nemis Bioscience Incorporated, American Green Incorporated, and Technical 420. Technical 420 will be giving away a free stock report to one attendee of this presentation. Please visit technical420.com to view their latest stock reports. Our presenter today is Stephen Sheeran, President of American Green Incorporated. Stephen, give me a second and I'll give the screen control over to you.
I'll start by saying thanks very much, Derwin and Cannabis Investor Webcast for making this possible. It's great to be back here again, and I'd like to congratulate everybody else who's been on this, all previous and all future webcasts. I think it's an excellent means by which to communicate information to friends, family, shareholders, and prospective shareholders. Real quick, to get a few things out of the way for the Q&A, don't worry about reverse splits. It's not happening, not right now, and it's not on the whiteboard. And any kind of toxic funding is not part of what we're doing. We've said it before. We'll say it again. We'll keep saying it. And there won't be anything extraordinarily groundbreaking today. We'll save that for the standard means of getting information out via PRs and the usual routes for that sort of thing. So this really is a State of the Union, where we were last year and where we're going, something that hopefully provides a level of continuity for the folks who've heard it before, and for the folks who are hearing it the first time, gives them an overview of what it is we're up to. And if there are a few takeaways from this today, especially for the people who've been around longer, it's to understand more about Tranzbyte, understand verified vending and how it relates to Zaz, understand our drive for continuity in products, what I call the Snickers goal, understand our interest in diversity, why we've built that up, starting with just the machine, into crossover opportunities, and really you'll see these as a recurring theme throughout what we're about to do. And so I bring them up now, and I'll mention them again at the end because tell them, as my MassCom 225 teacher taught me. So, American Green corporate overview. Some of you have seen this in real life. Some of you have seen the video online. That's the front of our building. We are sales and marketing driven. You've probably never met an Apple salesperson unless you went into an Apple store and talked to a genius. That's because people know their product. They've got a great product. People go to it. Our products don't jump off the shelf and sell, and many of them are groundbreaking. People need to be educated. And to do that, to educate people and make those sales, it means you're sales and marketing driven. Our roots were in technology, and we haven't left that behind. Technology innovations driving market opportunities. Seed to sale, vertical integration. We'll, of course, touch on this some more. It's something we're big believers in. Part of the reason because it is such an unknown market space out there right now. We really don't know what our best opportunity will be. Cultivation, as part of that. Extraction and manufacturing goes back to continuity. Point of sale distribution, of course, Zaz. Community outreach and education, part of our corporate model, something we're very keen on. And our ancillary sales, which we're ramping up very soon here, working with our partners at Digital Clarity. So Tranzbyte. It used to be Tranzbyte, so it was a company. American Green was a division, and now it's exactly the opposite. Why have we done that? Well, first of all, verified vending. Verified vending and what is now Zaz has always been managed out of Tranzbyte, will continue to be, and it gives us, so in effect, Zaz is licensed by American Green as a cannabis product of verified vending. So think about that for a minute. Any regulated product out there that we could be working with, from a pharmacy to a ballpark with beer, to anything that we haven't thought of yet, that we'll be dealing with Tranzbyte and verified vending. And there are 1,000 reasons for that, not the least of which American Green is focused in the cannabis world, and Zaz alone is an enormous task. Verified vending has its own separate group of people who've been learning from Zaz, but the people who may want to get heavily invested in, again, in ballparks or pharmacies may not want to work with American Green and its cannabis roots. So Tranzbyte has been great for that. The general agricultural crossover dovetails into that. We've already discovered, going to shows, some of the max yield and working with OGT and what have you, that there are places who are not interested in the leaf. They fear the leaf. We respect that at this point. So Tranzbyte is the company who handles that when American Green can't. Again, controlled substance sales crossover back to verified vending with that. It means any environment we go into where verified vending can work for it. Sometimes people would prefer to deal with it Tranzbyte rather than American Green. Web hosting, apps and consumer products, R&D, these are all technology things. If we found one thing going from dispensary to dispensary, there's a lot of people still working at myawesamedispensary@gmail.com. So ushering those folks into a more typical business practice where you represent your business with your domain, where you have a website set up to allow sales and other general commerce, as opposed to depending solely on your Facebook page is something that makes you look a little more professional. We're helping people into that. All the apps and consumer products that we find very exciting from a Zaz perspective, but the general market growth perspective, the Uber app towards Zaz, if you will, these things are still in R&D under Tranzbyte. So the sales and marketing, I mentioned the wheel, sales and marketing driven company. We've got a division of labor, think a SEAL team where everybody's trained in one thing and cross-trained in something else. We've found that regionally some salespeople gravitate toward some part of our organization and some toward another. And getting a Zaz placed is quite a different conversation and a sale than speaking with growers about cultivation. And within the scope of that, of course, you've got different aspects from light to the OGT, microbial tea, and of course Jurassic water. So our inside sales reps are looking more and more like business development. They establish relationships which open up our distribution partnerships and other opportunities. And our outside sales folks not located inside the office here and frequently in other states are the people who are focusing specifically in that sort of platoon type scenario where we're dividing, making sure that the person who's best capable of approaching a grow facility or a general cannabis company approaches it and then hands off that lead where need be to somebody else on the team. Marketing, we have a great in-house team for that, but we can't do it all. So we work with great companies around here, Serendipity, Digital Clarity, Social Ally. Our social media goes much deeper and broader in terms of research than simply the American _Green account. And we depend on Social Ally for that to keep abreast of what's happening out there, get the word out in different ways, and really just represent the things that aren't something like this. So the folks who go onto our social media sites and try to engage there with questions about PPS and reverse splits, it's not the forum for that. I'm sure you appreciate that. It's the friendly side of who we are, where we like to engage, know our customers, and chat with them and what have you. So as well as get information of what people are up to out there. Serendipit's where our media comes from. They do a fantastic job with that and guiding us around. And this year, unlike last year, we have a much more organized annual program for how things are rolling out. So look for big things to come with their ability to help us get in front of the necessary people to get our name out into a broader sphere of people and the general public. And Digital Clarity, you'll begin to see our ad campaigns working with them. There's a lot more that goes into it than just making it creative and dumping it through your AdWords account, which includes all sorts of robust things that you have frequently teams at agencies. My background, teams of 10 that can work for weeks to get a program going correctly. And so that's exactly what we've been doing. Pretty excited about that to discover what kind of ancillary sales we can make and then grow that into something larger. So Grow Raptor, we're pretty excited about. You heard it in a release recently. It came out of the R&D division. It was born out of our interest in two things. One, Michael Sylvia in cultivation as a do-it-yourself beer brewer thought that people might, in some instances, have an interest in growing medicine. And, hey, he brews his own, but he buys his own. So we don't feel like we're carving into the grow market at all. It's a closed-end, self-contained ecosystem for the growth of any plant life and symbiotic relationship with aquatic life. It's aquaponics. We find this to be the right size. Everybody loves this, and it will be making its public debut at CannaCon February 19th through 21st in Seattle. It's sales and donations. Every 10 of these that we sell, we actually donate one to a school. We have one in Colorado right now and another one that's getting ready to go out. And this was all based off pre-soft sales. Grow for Good launch initiative. I'm going to mention this here. It's not explicitly under Grow Raptor, this part, but we are working toward an opportunity to take the knowledge that we have and diversify into a larger market space, specifically getting what I would call greenhouses designed around the farmers market into disturbed or distressed rural and urban areas. and working with people to get them set up and at least be cash flow neutral, reducing carbon footprint, hopefully making profit centers in local areas. So we do have a Grow for Good launch initiative coming up. Grow Raptor is the first part of that. You'll be hearing more about that as we move on. Seed to sale vertical integration. Why did we get into this? Well, we recognized how large Zaz was and what Zaz was. Even with verified vending and all the opportunities it presents, we didn't want to be a one-trick pony or just become a vending machine company. So in looking at cultivation and general seed to sale opportunities, we broadened the company, and it all speaks directly to continuity of product, where we integrate our methodologies. So what do we mean by that? We mean that if you take a genetic strain that is the same in every state, and it's not grown the same, you may not have the same extraction, which means you may not have the same product, which means there is not brand faith in Zaz because your Arizona Snickers is different from your California Snickers, and it can't be that way. So it's a titanic job, I must say, to go from state to state, making relationships with cultivation facilities, since we don't have the ability to go in, grow, extract, and do it ourselves. So we're managing a very large operation to provide a continuity of grow methodologies, to provide continuity of products in the machine, but also to get the word out and sell the products that we have, our tea, our water, the lighting. And Bohemian Brothers, Dustin and Jeff, that's OGT. That's a concept for them, and through Urban Hills, our licensed grow in Nevada that we participate with through Earth Enterprises. And that is their relationship, their long and far-reaching relationship into the grow community, their ability to get unique genetics, share grow technologies, and what have you. So watch the Bohemian Brothers expertise to begin to show itself as a more prevalent part as we expand into our managed grow opportunities out there. And again, this helps us build out the Zaz network everywhere. Any place that has a dispensary probably has a grow, and vice versa. So these are sales that get handed off to another part of the organization, provides continuity in genetics and product, all the way from the flower itself to the extracted product. So cultivation, most people are familiar with these. You can find them on the website. We love all these products. Top growers in the industry are using them. Our Jurassic water, I know some people are curious about whether there was more or less oxygen. We can argue about that all day. It's called Jurassic because it's the most recognizable name of all the various areas versus plasticine or what have you. But the truth is, plants love oxygen, and we have the best and only mechanism to get that level of sustained oxygen to the roots. Very successful. And then Truth Lighting is not just LED right now; it's full spectrum, but this can grow. Is already growing into HID DEs and so on and so forth. So we can supply through one means or another what quality cultivators out there want. Extraction and manufacturing, again, something that we don't actively participate in, but we broker to ensure that there is continuity through our products. And the one that we can participate in is specifically our Heal line of CDB products. You may have or may not have seen the release this morning regarding Michael Stoltz and Hemp Dial. Michael was here earlier. If he still is, maybe he can step in and say hello real quickly. But it's the highest quality CBD powder sourced from European CBD, and we're very excited about that because for a variety of reasons. We're still interested in participating in our CBD-related growth state by state, but there's a lot of gray area out there, and until that's sorted out, we want to have the means by which we could supply quality, approaching pharmaceutical-type medicines to people, and this was the best opportunity. Real quick, I'll have Michael step in and say hello.
Yes, hello everybody. Yes, I've been really excited, or fortunate I should say, to work with American Green now for quite some time. We do have an exclusive with a European-based pharmaceutical company on a natural industrial hemp-derived CBD powder. And we are happy to roll out delivery systems next. And we're all very excited about that. So any questions, please direct them to American Green. Product is available, and we look forward to working with everybody in the space.
Yeah, thanks very much, Michael. And you'll learn more and more about him and what we're doing with this, because it's not limited to CBD. American Green is very dedicated to the growth of the hemp market in this country. And while cannabis is exciting to us and the medicinal aspects of that explicitly, what is it? It's estimated to be a $20 or $30 billion market, nothing to sneeze at. But what is hemp? Maybe a $400 or $500 billion market. If I could have 1% of one or the other, I'd certainly pick the larger one. So Michael has personal reasons and professional reasons for having an interest in this, has dived in and been fully involved for a number of years. He's a representative on state and federal levels, is on several communities or committees, that is. Has spent a lot of time in Kentucky. He and I went back there, and he had arranged meetings to meet with the KDA, the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, as well as Cottle Seeds, and nearly everybody else, right through the University of Kentucky in their neuroscience division and their farm labs division, working with them. So hemp is exciting. Michael brings a great opportunity with that. And there are a number of other hemp opportunities that are growing out there. And sailing through those waters, he's been able to provide a lot of clarity and foresight for that. He'll be with us also at CannaCon February 19th to 21st in Seattle, but I'm sure you'll hear more about him and that beforehand. Specifically, the CBD isolate. There are only a couple of means by which you can get your hands on this. It's a very diverse and exciting product. It's over 99% pure. Ours is entirely sourced out of hemp from the EU, and it means that it can be microencapsulated, used in drinks, it can be used in food, it can be vaped, it can be eaten, it can be used in salves. A number of very exciting things regarding that will be coming on to the radar in the next 2 weeks or shortly thereafter. And then in terms of extraction, green sticks, other extraction tech and products, green sticks specifically, Steve, great guy, great product, but most of all, great extraction technology that is not as cumbersome or diverse as some of those others, which allows us to set up in various locations rapidly and get products to market more effectively and faster. So watch for a nationwide green sticks expansion. It's not limited to medicine either. We have an herbal line of this, that anything that somebody might drink herbal tea for, to get up, to calm down, to feel healthier. Any of those possible things we can extract, and in fact it's very popular with that, and that is a product that for instance, some form of verified vending might find its way into a large box and sell herbal green sticks. So exciting things with regards to products out there coming online with that. Point of sale distribution, Zaz over here in American Green, obviously exciting things going with that. It's been a heck of a journey. It's been a journey, and with a lot of steps, and we're barely halfway there. As we started shipping and what have you, people said, "Hey, congrats and thank you very much for that." But really, that was the beginning of the real work, because state by state, dispensary by dispensary, calculating, there are 47 SKUs in these machines. That means 47 different products potentially, or 47 variations, or maybe 3 variations of 15 products, and it means different vendors, and it means different imagery and what have you, and it means working with different people in different stores to make that happen until we have our ability to have that continuity of products state by state and dictate to the dispensary at least some of those products, so that we're bringing a newfound form of revenue into them, which is the ultimate goal. If you got 16 square feet or about 4 foot by 4 foot of Zaz, it's sitting there right now with a chair, an empty chair, and a Bob Marley poster there. I love Bob Marley, but if we can fill that up with a Zaz and have all newfound revenue for them, rather than something that's behind the counter, and or a couple of their best-selling products, because we do want that ease of use. The way that Zaz is best used continues to evolve, and I'm sure we'll learn a lot more. Starting this week, we may push it up to Monday, and we'll get the word out on that. But we've got some press organized to come out, but it's going to have a lot to do with that Seahawks game. I guess the Super Bowl, we should call it. And they're planning, in the event that they win, to have their parade on Tuesday. So while we're first organized to do things on Tuesday, it may be Monday. I'm pushing for Monday because I don't want anybody to think we had to push it off to Wednesday because things weren't working. Everything goes swimmingly there, and we will be broadcasting live of the taped news conference on that. So I'll get a link to everybody via most probably press as well as social media where you can find that live release. There's so much more going on to Zaz and meets the eye. It is consumer operated. It has all the things that people have been looking forward to and more, and we learn more every day, through the partners. Integrating these technologies is exciting, arduous, and holds a lot of opportunity. So from retail sales to a delivery and remote distribution where it functions much more like a kiosk, think Redbox, think organizing what your product is. You show up, wave your QR code, verify, and pick up your product, guaranteed to have it there. And all the rest of the real-time inventory controls and bells and whistles that everybody is expecting. It's really happening. They're really there. It's really rolling out. And honestly, I don't think we're backing too far away from our estimate last year that by April or May we can have several hundred machines, if not approaching 1,000 out there, and if not plugged in and working, because this is not an Xbox, this is not a plug-and-play router. It's got regulated product in it. It's a lot of work to get it set up and organized. So, getting several hundred machines out there will get faster and faster as we go, and we fully expect that to happen in the very near future for a variety of reasons, all of which I think you'll find very exciting. Next, I'd like to invite Jerry Chesler to say a few words, our corporate counsel. I'll let him do the talking.
Hi, it's Jerry Chesler here, and I am the General Counsel for American Green. And generally, you don't want to hear from a lawyer, but when you're supporting a market and an industry whose product is federally illegal, believe me, lawyers are important in this thing. We have a lot of developments in federal law and federal policy going on this week, and it just so happens that last week the National Cannabis Industry Association did its first tax and law seminar. So we had some of the best and the brightest in the industry getting together, and it was nice forum in which to address a lot of these issues. That was a San Diego meeting. They put it on in California, and you get a real sense of the unregulated and fragmented California market, but that is the biggest market and the best market in the world. So hopefully they will get their act straightened out, and there'll be more to do there. As you look at who's coming to NCIA, who's coming to these things these days, you see a lot of developing markets and future markets. We're starting to get East Coast law firms and Midwestern law firms that are interested in the cannabis industry, and I think that speaks highly to the fact that the movement will be moving into the Midwest and is moving east. Additionally, the federal issues that are hurting the industry aren't really showing a lot of hope of immediate improvement, and the people who are there are in the midst of it. I would like to address those federal issues very quickly. They are generally tax, banking, and the Department of Justice. And like I said, the news has not been good on any of them. On tax, at the seminar at NCIA, we were talking about how there isn't any real hope for improvement. Well, actually, things have gotten worse. The IRS has put out some guidance now in which they have tightened up how one capitalizes their inventory, basically what you can call cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold was a godsend for the cannabis industry. If you're not familiar with 280E, it's the rule that they came up with to penalize the cocaine cowboys who were building Miami. And they said the IRS reg says no business deductions for if your business is trafficking in illegal drugs. Now, it happens in most states that this happens, or in the states that it happens, trafficking cannabis is not illegal. Nonetheless, the law is there. The Champs case out of San Francisco was fought by Henry Wykowski, a mentor of mine, and he pointed out that he does not think there's hope coming anytime soon. But what he got us was that cost of goods sold. The IRS is now trying to take that away. The IRS seems to feel that they are a law enforcement agency or something that should be punishing this industry. Very troubling, and hopefully, Henry said they are working on litigation strategies now. Hopefully we'll be able to do something about this. Additionally, we have these banking problems that generally make the industry very difficult. If you look at Arizona, it's estimated we did $112 million through the dispensary system last year. Some people have banking, some people don't. It's not a good thing. I personally met with one of the members of our State Senate Banking Committee this week, Diego Espinoza, and we will look at any possible option to make this better. At the end of the day, the feds hold all the cards. You have to work through the FDIC and the Federal Reserve, but we're looking at things like community banks and agricultural credit unions and any ways we can work around it. There is an Oregon bank, M-Bank, that was working in this segment. They tried to move it to Colorado. That lasted 2 days. They were already closed down after threats from the banking regulators, unofficially. And then our other problem is Department of Justice. Are we going to get prosecuted for what we're doing? There is no stated change in policy. The policy is not great. The Obama administration has not been a great friend to the medical cannabis industry. But when you look at their new nominee to become Attorney General, I would say that things are getting worse. I believe Loretta Lynch is worse than than Eric Holder. She's an old federal prosecutor from the drug wars, what I would call a prohibitionist or a drug warrior, seems to be moving in the wrong direction. Just went on the record to say that Obama was wrong when he said that marijuana is less harmful than alcohol, and that's despite every scientific fact indicating that that was true. Studies in England that point to it. Fortunately, the New York Times continues to call nonsense on this stuff, but it is not encouraging, I will say. We do need some new blood in the administration. We need to get away from these backwards-looking drug war types. I have very little time left, but I will briefly touch on special issues for publicly traded companies. Most of my practice was with private companies. All we had to worry about was, are we legal under state law? Are we making sure we're doing what the Department of Justice has said they will not prosecute for? Here in a publicly traded arena, we have more problems. We have more levels of regulation. We have a higher responsibility because we're handling other people's money, and we have this tremendous amount of uncertainty. Additionally, the market likes information, runs on information. They want to hear what we're doing. A lot of things in the cannabis business are better to maintain a low profile. In any event, we do need to worry about what the SEC will do. They recently approved an S1 for a company that says they're going to build dispensaries. Let's see what happens when they start handling cannabis proceeds. We see how well that works in the banking industry. I take it very seriously that we are dealing with other people's money. People bought our stock. This is not like a private equity venture where they signed something that said they understand this is illegal. We need to be careful. That means we are more risk averse than we would otherwise be. When the choice is we can make a couple extra bucks flying closer to the sun, we don't fly closer to the sun because we do not want to lose everybody's money. The uncertainty that we deal with in the administration is very tough and makes it very tough to make forward-looking statements, make announcements about what they're going to do. As a guy who's been fighting these fights in the cannabis industry for the last 4.5 years, I can assure you that everything in cannabis takes longer and costs more than you think it's going to cost. And it makes it very tough to make projections. And basically, like I said, this industry does best when we're not inviting the regulators to jump all over us. In conclusion, I can tell you that cannabis is coming, but it's a difficult and unpredictable business. Here at American Green, we will always take the cautious approach and protect our shareholders before anything else. And I'll be available for questions at the end if anybody wants them.
Thanks very much, Jerry. Excellent. I really wanted Jerry to be here and say a few words because, again, depending on which paper you read and which section of the paper, there's a lot of excitement out there. DOJ rulings on the Native American reservations. The American Pediatric Association saying that they think it should come down to or be reclassified. The federal prosecutor looking at the validity of Schedule 1 for cannabis. And we read all these, and it's easy to get hyped up about where it's going, but it's not there yet. And we've count ourselves extraordinarily lucky to have Jerry here with us, ensuring the kind of counterbalance. It's easy to get swept away in that excitement and start flying closer to the sun, as Jerry put it. And it's critical to have somebody on board to protect us and all of you. So we really appreciate that. So where are we going? American Green Vision. I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick. I don't want to cut into the Q&A. I'm sure there's a couple of questions bubbling up out there. We're looking at creating a powerful integration of technologies and methodologies. Innovative line of products and services. I think, hopefully you recognize that in our press releases, the products that we see out there. For the most part, I don't see anything else like OGT out there. I don't see anything else like Jurassic Water out there. These are things that, to Jerry's point, everything takes a little bit longer to learn about and get out in this. But everybody who does take the time to learn about them discovers, hey, these are fantastic and really work. And that's on the cultivation side. Our technology equally as exciting and equally as excited to share those with you as they come up in the very near future. And if we do have that expertise, that's where our roots were. The crossover opportunities for massive industry and market expansions, this is something we just haven't touched on much yet. But when you start looking at the utilization of some of our products in major ag, right now we've got folks calling on all types of farmers out there in the farmers market arena, the small to medium-sized grow, people who are servicing local areas and regions. It doesn't take very long to get 1,000 or 2,000 clients out there. Well, if it takes a year or 2 years to get 2,000 to 3,000 clients who are each spending $2,000 to $3,000 with you, you're talking $4 to $6 million plus, just from the small ball like that. And when you climb into bigger applications, well, the sky's the limit. So, our products make flowers sprout quicker and grow healthier. So from nurseries to people growing things up to sell out of a Home Depot, none of this is off our radar as Tranzbyte and American Green. So, I'll close out here just by saying maximization of shareholder value through sales diversification and positioning, meaning if we were just Zaz and not thinking of verified vending and there was a change somewhere, our boat would be sinking right now. And it's not, because we are not just that. If we were just verified vending and some changes came through, we'd be sunk, but we're not. We've spread out to ensure that if we encounter something, we're up against the wall on one side while we work through that, but we have other opportunities for market penetration and revenues. And we've done this explicitly to ensure a longer-term shareholder value, but make no mistake, very keen on seeing a healthy PPS and getting that up there, and fully believe that the time we took last year to organize the company will bear lots of fruit in this year, and very excited to be able to get this to you in January so that we can begin, and discuss it with you here at the beginning of the year, so that as soon as, next week, and certainly as, this morning, sharing the CBD, the move into the CBD, I don't think anybody has any idea, but we'll try to make it clearer and clearer just what a big opportunity that is. So in terms of the general state of the union, there you go. Happy to answer a few questions hopefully we haven't cut too far into it. Looks like just a couple of minutes. So, Derwin?
Thank you. And we will now, Stefan, queue up for questions. Give me a couple of seconds.
While you're queuing those up, I just want to say thanks again to Derwin and Cannabis Webcast, and to everybody who's taking the time out of their day to listen right now. And, I always like to see the banter out there, and you've heard me say on video and on live things like this. The tough questions that come in from shareholders are what we depend on frequently, to keep us sober in terms of, where we're going and what we ought to be doing, because there is so much opportunity. It's easy to run around chasing shiny pennies, but we aren't just collecting toys and sitting in the corner. There is a strategy and a purpose, and hopefully through opportunities like this that becomes clearer and clearer to you.
All right, as usual, you're getting a lot of questions, Stefan. So, the first question, so you seem to be doing many things, vending to software, multiple products. Aren't you spread a bit too thin?
That's a great question. As I said a moment ago, some people have theorized that we're just running around picking up toys and what have you, and that we are getting spread thin. And I have discussed that with folks from Main Street to Wall Street, not to be cliched. And the answer is, great question. And if we continued on this path, yes, but it was part of an explicit strategy. In the PR regarding Green Sticks, you'll see we partnered there, didn't seek an acquisition. We have a lot more partnerships that we're entering into so that we can work with other people. They profit, their shareholders profit. We don't have to do all the work. We believe that what we have underway right now we can handle. There are heads of the departments. We are able to keep track of what's going on. We've got a fantastic CRM system that doesn't just work for clients and sales, but organizes the whole company, which we customized through, Zoho as the CRM. We had a company come in and customize it to our needs explicitly. So, as opposed to slowly over 30 years evolving into a large multinational with a lot of divisions, the right people and are fleshing that out now. So to those who have a concern for that, I appreciate your concern and know that we are not going to continue to willy-nilly add things that seem we don't understand how they fit together or would cause us to be spread too thin. It's something we are aware of, and we'll ensure that we don't fall to that pitfall, or fall into that trap.
Next question. Dealing with the legalization of marijuana in Uruguay, what has American Green done about the placements of Zaz?
So another great question. We have 2 or 3 contacts there, as do some of our partner companies. And first of all, international business is never an easy thing. Just working in Canada can be a challenge. So getting down to South America, understanding their law, they want to subsidize, I believe it was around $1 a gram and they wanted 30 grams a month, and they had several strictures on it that were designed to enable it and provide it to the population, but not just willy-nilly, here, have all you want, let's go. So the feasibility of setting up a high-tech machine I'm not sure where the profit is in $1 per gram by the time, even if we have federally, government-subsidized water and power, and we're assisting them in the grow. I think ZAZ would be near the tail end of what we took in there. Right now, most of the discussion revolves around methodologies and genetics and assisting in grows. But, they haven't really kicked that off yet. There's a governmental change. They still support it. But, like in every country, it floats around in the bureaucracy of government some. So we do have representation there. We do speak with people there. But I don't think it would, we're back to the last question. We're spread about as thin as we need to be right here in the U.S. If we can assist them or do something with them that doesn't take our eye off the ball here, we will. But otherwise, that's where we are with Uruguay right now.
How many ZAZ machines do you have operational, and in what states?
Let's see. Well, we of the first 18, 4 more are shipping this week. You'll see the 2 of them. Well, you'll see 1 live operational in Seattle. By the end of next week, we'll have 13 operational, and you'll see at zaznetwork.com as they come online. You'll be able to see which one where. You can call the people and ask them if it's really there, and all the usual phone calls that dispensaries seem to get. But that's the beginning, and then we just keep. It's the hard thing to understand about ZAZ is, like I say, we can't just ship out 1,000 of them and have people plug them in and have it go. It's extremely complex in getting that set up, and so we're rolling them out literally as rapidly as we can. The demand is mounting, and it'll become boring soon to hear that another 10 are making their way out. But we've got a great API. We love DE Global, but we're not limited to working with just them. We like and respect some of our competitors in this marketplace, and who knows what the future holds with that. But I say again, whether it's strictly ZAZ or verified vending in general, it's not to me so much what we have operating today, but where we're going to be by April or May. And I hold by last year's prediction that we'll be into several hundred.
Next question: when will the $3.5 million from One Bold/Healthy Home transaction be realized on American Green's books?
That is a relationship we have with them. That's you could think of it to the extent that I feel comfortable discussing the exact nature of that deal. I can say that is a earnout that they are paying. It is happy. Everybody is getting along, and it's very healthy. No pun intended, healthy homes, but that makes its way in growing amounts and balloons over time. So they've been on time. They're making their payments. We understand that sales go great over there. We have a great relationship with them, but it's not going to be a $1 million drop like in this quarter or next quarter. However, they have the opportunity to do exactly that, if and when sales take off to the extent that would happen. But essentially, we're getting the time to develop that market in their space and through their company as necessary and earn out that purchase. And it continues to bolster our regular sales. But, you're not going to see a sudden 7-figure drop sometime in the next 2 quarters. I hope so. That could happen, and it could happen from them or from something else. But at this point, it's a measured purchase.
Next question: placing all your ZAZ machines into these markets, how are you handling compliance side of the machine being placed into dispensaries?
Well, as you might have picked up when Mr. Chesler was speaking, we have got folk here that look at everything that we're doing from, worst case scenario side. So it again is part of the large rollout. You have to look at vending licensing. You have to look at the way the various laws are written, food handling in certain situations. So we're dealing not with a store, but frequently with 4 or 5 regulatory groups. Just for starters, there's the Commerce Act. I think it's a 10-cent license that you get in the state of Colorado. I think it probably costs more to cash the check for that 10 cents than they. But it's not for revenue. It's for tracking for them. And every state has a slightly different thing. If you look at a Coca-Cola machine at the movie theater, you'll find a couple, 2 or 3 stickers on there. Everybody has that. We comply with that. We've got a team of people, following up and looking out for that. And if we haven't covered something, I'm sure somebody will point it out, and we'll deal with it at that point.
Next question. What were the 2 or 3 things that you learned last year that stand out?
Oh man, that's like the best question of all. The biggest one is the difference between I say our, for us internally and all of the shareholders and people in general, the difference between the perception that we get, going back to Jerry, if you listen to Jerry and what he had to say there, you'd think, why the heck are we even doing this? We can get arrested and put out of business tomorrow. And we count on him for that. That's what he's around for. You have to have that. And so, we got into this seeing, oh, the tidal wave is coming, and here it's happening, and it'll be everywhere all of a sudden, and what have you. And it does not move as quickly as that. And he brings up a very good point. So, the bottom line is the pot biz is hard, and not that we weren't aware that there'd be a lot of work, and we welcome work, and we all like to work hard. We're here from bell to buzzer and well beyond every single day, putting in the time, but all aspects of this, you just think you got the knot untied, and then say, oh, no, you have to move 3 of those over there, put 2 of those over there, and then fill out this paperwork. So I would say balancing the hype that the individuals put out in social media when they're working off of exciting news stories against the reality of making sure that you're operating in a professional and legal manner. I would say that gulf is wider than we thought from 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and but it's not insurmountable. I would say that we never claim to know all about vending, and we certainly have discovered that the logistics and rollout of a national opportunity like we're doing with Zaz, it came with it's not one thing that we learned, it's 1,000 things. And learning about those 1,000 things, I would put under that one. How much bigger verified vending and Zaz is than saying, hey, we've got an age all the components are there. Age verification has been around forever. Biometrics has been around for years. But putting them all together and putting them within a regulatory environment or a compliant environment, much, much larger. And then the last one, I guess, would be how great the rest of the people in this marketplace are to work with, going from show to show, having meetings, moving around the country, talking to various people. There are a few folks that are in it just for the buck, but the majority of people we get to deal with are really, good folks. So I know they're passionate, extremely passionate, excited about what they're doing. So at the end of the day, some other industries, I won't say it gets boring, but it becomes pretty mundane. There is nothing mundane about this, and not to say that that was something we needed to learn, but you forget it sometime. You think, oh, this is just another business. We'll show up at work. Well, every single day there's some phone call, somebody comes through the door, somebody pitching some new product. I guess we learned that we could probably be taking notes and writing a best-selling movie anytime soon. So general challenges in the gulf between the opportunity and the reality in the market being one, the challenges of rolling out Zaz being another, and the fascination and fun of being in this market being even larger than we ever thought being the third.
The next question, how much value does the Tomasi patent hold for American Green?
Well, we consider it valuable enough to have made arrangements to bring Robert on exclusively and keep him around for sure. I think, there is, and Jerry can speak to this better than I in terms of the law, but most people should know that the law is always open to interpretation. So even that comes down to patent law. A patent just means you have a starting place for other people to argue about. And so you very seldom do you have a patent that is so airtight and bulletproof that nobody will even challenge it. However, they can represent an outstanding starting place around which you can build your technology so you have the highest probability of being defensible as you move forward. And that's what it offers to us. It's the spirit of the patent, the way it's written, the breadth that it contains has allowed us to create a process through which we feel we're entirely safe and defensible, and most probably, have a conversation starter with some other companies who may think about getting in or are already participating in this space to say, tell me again how you don't think you're in a violation of our intellectual property. So, if we hadn't had it or we couldn't have found it, we would have proceeded in some other variation, and I expect there are a bunch of great brains out there who are looking for variations to get around what we have. But in terms of the lowest hanging fruit or the simplest path to the ocean, that the water can take, we feel that the DeFonsi patent offers that to us. So very valuable.
Next question, Stephen. Any take on Obama's nominee for the new Attorney General and her statement against legalization?
Well, as Mr. Chesler had to say earlier, she comes from an era and was inculcated in the belief that this is your brain on drugs and that marijuana is a horrible gateway drug and we have to chase everybody out and down and cut down those horrible plants and it's just destroying everybody, which hopefully everybody on this call recognizes is absolutely farcical. So you have somebody, and I have no idea why the administration would look at bringing somebody on, one step forward, 3 steps back, right at a time when you've got, it's no longer just Sanjay Gupta at CNN out there. You've got an ever-broadening group of medical professionals saying, wow, this is really helping some people's lives. And you have a growing number of anecdotal data where people are walking away from stage 4 cancers and MS and debilitating cocktails of drugs where they have to go through, to get those drugs out of their system that they've been on for a number of years, and they're treating themselves with something natural. So we see this anecdotal data, we see scientific data, we see professionals talking positively about it. We know all the history going back, law enforcement officials who retire and come out in favor of legalization. We know that there are medicinal opportunities. We know it's not as hyper-addictive, if addictive at all, to a reasonable person, and yet it's still got that ridiculous schedule. So let me let Jerry say a word or two about her.
And I would borrow the phrase from Jack Harrar and say that more and more people see that the emperor has no clothes. We are dealing with prohibition, a Schedule I placement of marijuana based on it being highly addictive and having no medical value. Both propositions are wrong. It's less addictive than caffeine. The medical research is coming out over and over and over. This is an arbitrary and capricious standard. All of prohibition should be considered, certainly marijuana prohibition, should be considered unconstitutional. And to take backwards-looking people is not really helping. But what's good is the discussion continues on. The New York Times is very quick to call nonsense. I would use a different word in a different forum. But very quick to call nonsense on this stuff. And now that we're talking about it, hopefully more people will see this and attitudes will continue to change. But this is a backwards-looking step, and it is very troubling to have a top law enforcement official be completely brainwashed and have no contact with reality.
So hopefully that was pretty clear. I mean, reality is still a government-appointed official. You're representing a pretty important agency out there that has an impact on us. So what regulations we need to follow, we will continue to follow. But I think we need to get some voices out there and continue to educate the public at large so they make demands for people like her and many other folk to take a hard look at the real science behind this and get out of Americans' way of commerce and making money and getting healthy and recreating how they see fit.
And the 2 cents I would add to that real quick are that the side effects of being arrested are worse than any other side effect of marijuana or cannabis. And to continue to push that is just wrong, and it's bad for society.
Next question, Stephen. The move to retail seems like a potential challenge. Given that you don't have a consumer business, how will you go to the market with how would you go to the market?
Yeah, well, outside of the explicit retail opportunity presented by Zaz or other verified vending type machines, I would say that retail is largely limited, again, to that expressly and providing the products in there, which will look a lot more like wholesale than retail as we progress. So, this is not, I don't want to get our company to get all of us into retail. It's not our background. It's not our history. That's a whole other animal. There are companies out there who do it very well. However, having a little dalliance to ensure that we are providing products that represent new revenue streams to the dispensaries that we work with, that we can ultimately start producing in greater bulk under license, and wholesaling is something that makes sense to us. So great question about retail. We are not looking to open large stores and itemize each thing and hire a bunch of people and put them on holidays and off days and scheduling and so on and so forth is not the direction we're going with this. It's rather discovering products viability of various products, and then bulking that up, licensing it out, and providing them in a more wholesale fashion.
Next question. What is the intended extent and capability of American Green can attain in the verified vending industry?
So we're growing with that, and obviously we're starting with Zaz because we kind of backed our way into verified vending and realized it was much, much larger. So, I'm not at liberty to say some of the folk that we're speaking with at this point, but just know that it turns out that slightly less than half the country is still smoking cigarettes, and that's a controlled substance, and a lot of people who sell tobacco are it sells out of locations where cartons and packages disappear and what have you. So there's been interest from alcohol, regulated substance. There are places where having something that could allow somebody who was seen to be of the appropriate age through our process could acquire these regulated substances, and it could go, I consider, very large. If you look to one of our companies that we're frequently associated with was looking at the pharmaceutical market. I think we've got a better product for that for a variety of reasons. So I mean, and please let your mind wander and send us some ideas. People have been. So from having a cold on your way home, but oh my gosh, Walgreens is closed, and being able to pick up the Sudafed or something that's normally over the counter. Remember our age verification comes through Legal Age Software, who provides that to pharmacies right now under the Control Meth Act for the purchase of Sudafed. So that means it's you check the ID first, and then you verify that ID through the human looking at you. That's their form of biometric verification. We meet or exceed that standard. So from pharmacies to ballparks to corner markets to you name the spot, we believe that there's opportunity there. We're in discussions with some groups already. I could. Last time we did a webcast, somebody asked if we'd ever spin this or that out. I tell you, I wouldn't call it a spin out, but packaging up a big opportunity and recognizing it as a standalone business is another aspect of having a lot of things available to us right now. Verified vending being one of those.
Next question. The great video at American Green, is that going to be marketed to increase awareness?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, we've got a growing marketing plan for the year. So we actually are just finishing one for the general national release of Grow Raptor, which was leading up to that debut at CannaCon in February 19th to 21st. So working with Wake Media and a couple of other companies and what have you, we fully intend to utilize the various mediums out there, obviously the internet, but not limited to that, to market to a general public and a greater brand awareness of who we are as American Green, to attract new shareholders in to participate along with us. We see ourselves as a smart company that's making the right moves, and we want more people to participate with us, and using tools like that to get to those folks and let them understand in a 3 to 5 minute video what it is we're up to, so they can ask more questions and hopefully get involved in one form or another, even just to buy our products or frequent the places that we support. Utilization of videos like that is expressly why we made that, and we'll make several more. And hopefully, thank you very much. I think you referred to that as a great video. Thank you, and hopefully you'll like the rest of them that we come out with.
Next question. How many machines that are sold but not manufactured yet?
I'm not looking at the chart of that right now, and manufacturing is ongoing. It's really more like assembling. I would feel like it's safe to say that over the next 30 days, we'll see somewhere between. But that I could have 70 on order, and then we'd have to wait another 3 weeks before something else happened. That number is going to ebb and flow, and we had 3 machines that were bound for Tacoma, and then since they didn't make it in November, they filled that space, and they're looking to take them somewhere later in this year. So that number is going to ebb and flow, and it's going to grow towards the several hundred number that I'm expecting. I'd say in the next month, though, so that you can hold me to something accountable, I'd be overjoyed to see us get another 18 to 20 out of VE Global and on their way. And then it's really changed from having to explain to people what it is to taking orders. And interestingly, we're taking more and more orders for products to go into CBD-specific locations that aren't actually dispensaries, so that they can kind of cut their teeth on what it looks like, have people create Zaz accounts, and in their hope that soon the laws will change and they can have a controlled substance in there. So, you know, it's hard to know since nobody's done it before on this kind of a scale. So sometimes we get a call for 15 and we, you know, high five and then do a little due diligence and find out that it was just somebody, I guess, trying to get us to high five around the office. So that number will come and go, but let's go with 20 over the next month.
Can you go into a little more about the growth of the OGT side of American?
OGT, hopefully you've seen the videos, hopefully you've researched it a little bit. It's a very unique product, and the guys are fantastic guys, and you know they have very deep relationships throughout the hemp and cannabis market. But they also did produce this stuff. I mean, you can use it on, you can take two nearly dead roses, put it on one and not the other, and you know the rose comes back. So the growth for them, they've been growing organically, going to cannabis cups and max yields and things like that. And they saw the opportunity to work with us to provide them with a little more marketing and sales. So, you know, we've got the first thing we looked at, we took the numbers, we saw where things were being ordered and purchased, did kind of a market diagnostic on that, and now we've got people who are trained and on the road. The best way this kind of thing, as I said earlier, everybody goes down to an Apple store and buys an Apple product. Nobody goes down to the OGT store. If they go into a hydro store or another location or online, you know, OGT isn't sitting there screaming at them, buy me, buy me. So you have to develop a relationship in that hydro store. You have to make sure that they've got it, you know, up front, that they embrace it and are using it. And so we have, you know, isolated the best way to do that, and we've got 3 people on the road testing out, you know, active markets with more people coming on. So Southern California, the Northeast, and Colorado will have people explicitly going to see if our methodology is going to work, and if it does, then we'll open the floodgates to support OGT entirely, because it's an outstanding product which brings a lot of value to the company.
Grow Raptor. Is it a consumer product?
Yeah, excellent question. So Grow Raptor was designed to be a consumer product ultimately, although not necessarily retailed exclusively by us. So the MSRP coming off the shelf is going to be essentially $19.99, $2,000. We tested for about 7 months, had 2 full grow cycles go through, and we know that you can grow 1 to 2 pounds of medicine if that's what you choose to do in a legal environment. But you can also grow the heck out of some basil and some tomatoes and all sorts of herbs and what have you.
It's 15 hours.
The fish look great on the bottom. Honestly, the couple of shows we took it to, we found every single person that walked past it, no matter age or background, loved the look of it, wanted to have one. So we'll see that price drop on volume. Ultimately, I'd like to see it get under 1,000, and then we have some inroads to some companies, you know, think Eden Pure or that kind of thing, in terms of larger scale organizations that could, you know, break into the crossover market. And everybody who has a little interest in growing their own herbs, herb to market, or I'm sorry, farm to table. So, you know, why not have one in your restaurant growing your basil? Pick it off right there and put it on the plate, and you can pull the tilapia out and eat them. So everybody from a do-it-yourselfer who wants to grow herbs inside, and you can name all the fish if you put koi in there. You know, the ones we have out right now, I think you'll love to see the Grow Raptor video. So in short, you know, we're at 2,000 now. I think we'll get to market, and that'll be 2/3 or 3/4 of that almost immediately, with a future of driving that down through mass production and, you know, the next iterations of them. But ultimately, the primary sales and marketing on the retail level, again, won't be us, because that's not our bag. It's producing the knowledge so that the wholesalers can sell them, and creating those distribution streams.
The question is, what is the cost? And
What is the cost?
Yes. And what would be your distribution?
Well, right now we've got so cost-wise, obviously there are a lot of people who have a lot of interest in knocking things off and discovering whether there's profitability in it. So I'm not going to get too into the cost of it, but if you work your way backwards from a retail model, and I'm saying that we believe we can get this actually to market for under $1,000, hopefully you can do the math and figure about what our cost would be on that. And the cost can be variable depending on, you know, in the future if we discover different ways of putting it out, again, on volume, manufacturing hundreds of the containers, all at once. The acrylic tank is manufactured by the oldest maker of acrylic tanks, who just coincidentally was here in Chandler, Arizona. But as we move forward on that, there are different tricks that I'm sure we'll be able to employ on volume, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that cost driven down to just into the few hundreds of dollars range. But right now, it is higher than that, hence the initial MSRP of $19.99. The distribution in the beginning is getting the word out and us marketing it to discover where it sells the best, so that we can approach the right location. So, hey, could we get it into a Lowe's or a Home Depot? Maybe down the road. Would it be easier to get it in there if there was some celebrity endorsement? I'm certain that's the case. Do we know exactly what that looks like yet? No. Are we getting into retail of this? Most probably not. If we did, it would be drop shipping through somebody who handled the sales and marketing of that, and we would just oversee the manufacturing and take the difference. So, right now we've got several high-dose shops that want to have it because it highlights the light is up there, so they can see that working. It's just fun. Frankly, everybody that sees it in person loves it. Why was Green Stick still available with us after it didn't go through with the previous company?
Yes.
That's between those two companies. We feel thrilled that it was the case and he was still available. That would have to be directed most probably at that other company. My understanding is that, like some deals, that one just didn't work out. I would just say that we've tried to talk about things here that sound a lot like we've talked about before, because we're not willy-nilly all over the place. We're trying to produce an organization here that represents a level of security that will drive the PPS up as the strategy succeeds, and it is succeeding. It is of interest to us to protect shareholders' positions, and I was probably people belly laughing out there at that because we came off of a higher number and worked our way down, but we're working our way up. We can't control that. What we can control, we do control, and that means having a real company that's within the scope of legal regulation that produces profitable products and gets them to market. And we're going to keep doing that, and we're going to be focused as American Green in this cannabis space, but we're not going to limit ourselves to it expressly. If I can sell something into big ag, we certainly will do that. So I would just close by saying that the security of our business plan is important to us because we want to see the PPS reflect the successful strategy and be a benefit to everybody who gets involved with us. We certainly appreciate, again, all the candor and opinions, but that is what we're doing, and we're happy to be doing it and pretty excited about what it is we're up to right now, and I hope you are too.